Today I'm here with Merrill Jencks, top producer in the Phoenix metro area, and we're going to get a little unscripted today and talk about lead follow-up. Now, you guys know that I'm a coach and I coach real estate agents all the time. I don't coach my husband for lots of reasons. But one thing that I can tell you is that he's gonna be honest, and I know that's what you guys are looking for. If you're a busy agent and your coach, like myself, is always telling you you've gotta make these phone calls, at the same time, you also need to be going on appointments. So Merrill, I wanna get down a little tactical with you, and I wanna talk about lead follow-up. One, do you do lead follow-up?
Yes.
But I know there's a but in there.
Yeah, well, first of all, yes, I do lead follow-up. Like if you're not doing follow-up, you're not going to be a successful real estate agent. Okay. You have to do follow-up. The majority of sales do not happen the first time you talk to them and you go out and sell them a home. There's always follow-up with leads. Sure. And I have help, right? We have a showing agent, we have an ISA, so we have people who help with the follow-up. But I personally do my own tasks and follow-up as well. And so I would say that I do my best. I'm not perfect.
Well, let's talk about
Coach
best.
Kristi, probably not quite up to Coach Kristi's standards.
No, let me clarify. So I want to put it out there that Merrill does do lead follow-up. So he's a $22 million producer. And he goes on a lot of appointments,
Yeah.
And so he is very busy, but he does make time for lead follow-up. And what I want to get out of this interview is that it's not perfect. So he doesn't do lead follow-up 5 days a week. And for a lot of my clients, I recommend that they do lead follow-up, 3 to 5 times a week, 3 to 5 hours a week. He has enough that he could spend 2 hours a day doing lead follow-up. He doesn't do that. So how do you manage this need for lead follow-up and to have time in your schedule to go on these appointments? What kind of decisions do you make? Well,
for me personally, an appointment, I tend to prioritize appointments, and I know that's not right for everyone. Almost any coach is going to tell you that you got to time block your follow-up time, and it's sacred. And no matter what, I don't care if it's a $5 million listing, you're not going on that appointment unless your follow-up is done.
I've never said that. For the record, I've never said that.
I do tend to prioritize appointments. So if I have an opportunity to go on an appointment, then I'm going to go on an appointment, and I'm going to fit the lead follow-up in other areas where it fits.
Okay, so you don't just drop it. You do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's the number one key for anybody that's struggling. There are going to be times when you have out-of-state clients come in. There's going to be a time when you've got a listing appointment that can only do 9 in the morning. So barring those appointments that are just kind of abnormal, that you can't kind of fit into a time slot, what time do you do it?
I like to do it in the morning. I'm less likely to have appointments in the morning, right? Most appointments are in the afternoons and evenings. And B, if you have to do something you don't like, kind of the eating the frog thing, get it done with first.
Okay, so he does prioritize it for the morning for those reasons. He's less likely to have an appointment. He's more likely to be motivated. He didn't quite use that word, but motivated to get it done earlier in the day. What is your goal for conversations and follow-up weekly?
I think that each day that I do follow-up, kind of a rule of thumb is that for each hour of follow-up that I'm doing, I want to be having at least 6 to 8 conversations, and so that doesn't count voicemails and things like that I'm leaving. If I'm going to do an hour of follow-up, I expect to be able to talk to 6 to 8 people.
Do you do text messages in your lead follow-up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, text messages are one of the best ways to get a hold of people.
Okay.
A lot of times I'll call, leave a message, follow up with a text message. It depends on the client. Some people are more responsive to text, so some people I'll only send a text message to and make sure that I'm making a note of it in my CRM. But yeah, text messages get a significantly higher response rate than phone calls. So if you're not using text messages in your follow-up, you probably should.
Yeah. So what are some of the tools that you use? Because you have endless lead follow-up. So again, he's never done. He's always got more lead follow-up. So what are some of the tools that you use to help you stay consistent with it?
Well, obviously our CRM, right? Our CRM is telling me what tasks I have, and our CRM, does some automation, so it's got, drips like most CRMs do, so it's some text messages and some emails and things like that luckily get some people to respond to me, so I can just start engaging with the people who are engaging back, instead of always having, these kind of cold call type conversations. So, part of my lead follow-up time is just responding to the people who came to me.
So for the person that, doesn't necessarily love lead follow-up, that maybe doesn't have the time for it, and now all of a sudden they found themselves a week, 2 weeks, and they go into their CRM and they're like so far behind. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it has. I know the feeling. I mean, it's so daunting and overwhelming when you're so far behind and you've got all these past due reminders, and you're kind of at this point where you're just like, oh, I even, it's 7 hours worth of follow-up in there, and I only have an hour, so what's the point of even starting, because I'm not going to be able to get it done. But if you've got to eat an elephant, the best way to do it is one bite at a time. I mean, I just get in there and just do what you can every single day and do your best, and probably not going to be perfect at it, but just, I like to say that I work in my CRM for at least an hour every day. I mean,
I know he has it open every single day.
You're not so busy. You're not on so many appointments, right? I mean, unless maybe there's like 2 agents in the world out there that are just constantly on appointments, they just don't ever have time to do any follow-up. You're not on that many appointments, right? You might have 1 buyer appointment, 1 listing appointment today. That's 3 or 4 hours worth of appointments. Okay, you should be working 8, 9, 10-hour days a lot of the time. You have time for lead follow-up. You're just making excuses. There's time.
I like that. We'll end with that. At the end of the day, you have time. You're just making excuses. And I would say as a coach, what we're really looking for is consistency. If you can just stay consistent, even if it's 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes 3 times a week, getting in there, being consistent will absolutely help you not have that roller coaster income that a lot of agents experience. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Resilient Realtor channel.